Gibson.
Want some?
Garvey?
Okay. How about one of my Mattingly's for your Garvey and the Wiz? No way.
Yeah, I'm not trading 2 National Leaguers for a Yankee.
Come on. He was only the AL MVP last year. He'll probably win the All-Star game all by himself. Yeah, I can just see it.
American League down by 1. Man on first. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Mattingly. Hit deep to right. Way back. It's gone. The Astrodome crowd is silenced as Don Mattingly's 2-run homer has given the American League a 1-run lead in the 9th.
Oh, sure. Dream on.
No way. The National League's gonna win. They always win. Okay, then. How about Wally Joyner?
You got a Wally Joyner card?
ESPN and Major League Baseball present ESPN's All-Star Salute.
You're looking live at the Hyatt Regency here in downtown Houston, Texas, at the Imperial Ballroom, where the present All-Stars of 1986 and many of the great All-Stars in the past are gathered for the All-Star Roundup.
15 games in the first half. For Roger Clemens, his place in history didn't just start this year.
The score, Texas 1 out away from the national championship. Swings high in the air. This should be it. Texas should have the national championship. Bubbly back to make the play. It belongs to Texas. The 1983 College World Series National Championship team.
23-year-old Roger Clemens is no stranger to the limelight. After winning 25 games in 2 years at the University of Texas, the All-American burst onto the national scene when he led the Longhorns to the World Series title in 1983, a moment that still brings a smile to his face.
I tell you, the last inning, I was about squeezing the laces off the baseball trying to get the last final outs, and it was just a tremendous feeling. Jeff Herron, a catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, came out, and I had spit on both sides of my mouth. He said I looked like Secretariat running a race. I couldn't even swallow, and we got that out, and it was a big burden lifted off my shoulders. I felt a lot of relief after winning that, and it's something I wanted to accomplish, and it all worked out.
From that high point in 1983, the three-sport high school star succumbed to the injury jinx the next 2 years as his seasons were cut short by stays on the disabled list, leaving baseball folks with questions about his durability.
Well, I was down. The anxiety that was going through me, and it was frustrating, the year was, but like I said, after I made my mind up that I was going to have that surgery, I just made sure I wasn't going to be behind anybody when I came to spring training this year. A lot of hard work, a lot of road work of running and exercising on my shoulders, and I think I surprised a lot of people in the management and a lot of players around me that how ready I was when I came to spring training. But that's all behind me, and like I said, every pitcher I see him I talk to that it seems like they've had some type of injury, so maybe I've had my one initiation fee to get in the big leagues, and it's over now. So it's the hard work's paying off right now, George.
It sure has, because the man they call the Rocket has been baseball's most exciting player so far this season, especially on the night of his record 20 strikeout performance against the Seattle Mariners.
And here they come up at Fenway.
I'm surprised they're going back down. I would think they would just stay up.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to stand up.
A new record. Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. 20.
Starting off the season, nothing I could have dreamed. My wildest dreams couldn't even thought of the season I'm having right now. The World Series ranks right at the top of that game, but it was right there with my 15 strikeouts with Kansas City, And then, of course, the 20 strikeouts, nothing can top that right now. Not even a no-hitter for me, because people's thrown no-hitters before, and nobody's ever struck out 20 men.
Oh, George, that was awesome. That's the only word I can describe it. I've seen Catfish Hunter pitch a perfect game. I saw Mike Witt pitch a perfect game, the final game of the season in Texas in '83. I've been on the ball club with Tom Seaver, with Nolan Ryan, and just excellent pitchers. And this was the most impressive pitching performance that I've ever seen.
He just looks so smooth out there, like it was effortless for him. And the thing that impressed me the most was how many balls were swung at and missed. I mean, you just don't see that in big league baseball. It just don't happen.
How good can you be?
The tapes of Rogers' 20 strikeouts seems to be destined for many more starting nods. Think of the modern-day power pitchers like Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan, and Sandy Koufax. Gooden's stats are way ahead of all of them at similar stages of their careers, and he's younger, too. At the age of 19 in 1984, Gooden shattered the rookie record for strikeouts, notching 276, which is more than 11 batters a game. With a 17-9 mark, he was the National League's Rookie of the Year. Last season, Dr. K was virtually untouchable, going 24-4 with a frightening 1.53 ERA and 268 more strikeouts, earning the Cy Young Award. Already, though, his career is going full circle, as tomorrow night he'll start his first All-Star game in the same place where he made his Major League debut, the Astrodome, as his proud parents looked on at win number 1.
Yeah, I remember that day a lot, and I think back on it. I remember I couldn't sleep the night before, and the day of the game, it was a night game. I must have walked to the ballpark, and I think that's about 5 miles away, and so I got to the ballpark about 2 o'clock for like a 7 o'clock game, and that makes it even, you know, great and something to look forward to, you know, starting an All-Star game at a place where you broke into Major Leagues.
Gooden was making a name for himself, all right, back in 1984. But if the nation had their doubts, all they had to do was watch the '84 All-Star game in San Francisco, when he followed Fernando Valenzuela striking out the side with the same feat in his first All-Star inning.
It was a weird feeling, and when I was out there, you know, I was so pumped in the big crowd and the All-Star game, and you're facing the best hitters in the league, not only the National League, but all over. And, you know, with Gary catching, he helped settle me down a little bit. Then striking out the side was like unbelievable feeling.
You look around and figure, am I really here?
It was hard to believe, and hard to picture me doing that stuff, and it was like a dream.
This year, there have been some whispers. Gooden is mortal. He doesn't strike everybody out. He can lose a few games. He can even get hit hard, occasionally. What's the matter? Nothing, really. And if you think his velocity is off a bit, forget it.
I'm still have the same velocity that I did last year, and I got to give other hitters credit also that they making adjustments to me. And the first couple of years, they hadn't seen me, just like I hadn't seen them. And it's a little tougher to strike him out this year. And I'm not really, you know, with 2 strikes, I'm not reaching for that extra. Just going with location and trying to make a better pitch.
Yes, he's learned how to pitch more. He's around the plate, and he'll give a hitter a little bit more to hit, and he's not trying to overpower, and he's not trying to strike everybody out. Not saying that he's not trying for the strikeout, but it's like he knows that he can get by with his velocity and his kind of stuff, that he doesn't have to overthrow.
Another season, another pitch added to Dwight Gooden's repertoire. Can you imagine if he plays for 20 years?
I'm trying to throw more changeups and feel comfortable with it. And on the side, me and Mel Stoudemire have been working on that pitch a lot, and it's come around to help me. And I think somewhat down the road in my career, I'll go to another pitch, and if I do, it'll probably be a split-finger fastball.
I'd hate to imagine you with a knuckleball.
Yeah, that'd be great to have one of those.
You imagine Dwight Gooden with the knuckleball? You know, the way he throws, you probably still feel that even with a knuckler, it would come in at about 90 or 91 miles an hour. Dwight, of course, is not the only pitcher in the National League that we're going to see tomorrow here at the All-Star Game. His teammate with the New York Mets, Sid Fernandez, who has won 12 games this year, El Cid, who is on the NL staff, along with Reds reliever John Franco, Giants veteran pitcher Mike Krukow making his first appearance in a 10-year career, Shane Rawley having a fine year with the Phils, the Terminator, Jeff Reardon out of the bullpen of the Montreal Expos, Rick Rhoden having a great year with the Pirates, Mike Scott, the strikeout leader in the National League of the Astros, his teammate Dave Smith with all those saves, and, of course, Fernando Valenzuela of the Dodgers.
From Fernando to Cristoforo. And let's check the American League pitchers. Don Ossie, the man who leads everybody in saves so far. What a comeback story he's been. Willie Hernandez, the former Cy Young Award winner. Teddy Higuera of the Milwaukee Brewers. George Bamberger has put together a fine staff, and Teddy's been anchoring it so far. Charlie Huff, the knuckleballer, talking about knuckleballs, will be here. Dave Righetti out of the Yankees. He's looking for a big night. Kenny Schramm, and, of course, Mike Witt, the fireballer, 9-7 with a 3.08 ERA. So that is not a bad pitching staff at all. And we're talking about staffs. We'll take a look at the starters of this 1986 All-Star Game when we return.
And throughout the program, our 90-minute program, we're going to take a look at some very special ESPN All-Star moments like this one.
You certainly remember your first and your last one. My first one was 1967, and I got a chance to be the starting outfielder, and I got there rather early and asked a bat boy, which I thought was a bat boy, for Coca-Cola. So the kid went over and got it and brought it back and introduced himself as Tom Severs. so I certainly remember my first All-Star game.
Welcome back, everyone, to Houston, Texas, and the Hyatt Regency Hotel and ESPN's All-Star Salute. I'm George Grande. Welcome back. We apologize for our momentary delay, but just like in baseball, they have rain delays. We had a momentary satellite delay, but we're back and rolling, ready to go. We had a pitching change while you're away. And with us now, the two managers of this 1986 All-Star Game, Whitey Herzog of the St. Louis Cardinals, Dick Hauser of the Kansas City Royals. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to be a part of anything like this in the tradition of baseball, isn't it, Whitey?
Well, it certainly is. I mean, I know a lot of people think we'd like to have the 3 days off, and I guess if we'd rather have our rathers, we'd like to. But when you're here to manage a baseball team at this time of the year in the All-Star Game, you know you won last year, and that's one of the rewards you get for winning a pennant. Of course, Dick won a World Series, so I guess we're both happy to be here, Dick.
I'm tickled to death to be here myself.
It has not been an easy season so far for you, Whitey.
No, we really struggled. We struggled from day one. It looked like at the end of spring training we were going to be all right, and we started off the season, won 7 of our first 8, and didn't hit the ball, but we won ball games, and all of a sudden our lack of hitting has caught up with us. We've had some injuries. Jack Clark is now out for most of the season, and we just haven't hit. And I think in 55 ball games we scored 3 runs or less. Yesterday we got our 24th home run of the year by the team, so we really are struggling with the bat. Our pitching's been pretty good, and we're just going to have to hit better.
You're hopeful and glad, Chris, Dick, is that there's 2 halves of the season,
Yeah,
too.
I think so. And Dick, of course, when they talk about patient managers, they talk about Dick Hauser, and you've had your patience been tested.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks it's really been tested. Yeah, we lost 11 in a row. We were right in there, and we just dropped it. We lost 11, and we came back at home and split. But that still hasn't been good enough. We're 8.5 back now. We've got to go.
You're talking about a Cy Young Award winner, maybe moving him to the bullpen. You're talking about, of course, George Brett's been out the last week or so. You don't write all these things down in Florida when you go to work at Fort Myers at the beginning of the year, do you?
No, you don't. But when you have a guy like George Brett and Rudy Law, who we got from the White Sox, who's a 2-8.
George, having a lineup like this, you want to get everybody into the game. I know, Whitey, you have, what, 10 pitchers. If it doesn't go extra innings, that could be tough. What do you actually play percentages with these guys, or all the percentages are on their side?
No, really, I didn't take 10 pitchers to get 10 pitchers in the ball game. I took 10 pitchers because I...
This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
The Islands, George, this year, and a couple guys on the West Coast have led the way. A guy in Anaheim by the name of Joyner, I think.
Oh, Chris, there's no doubt about it. When you look at this 1986 season and people look at the first half, a couple of names stick out, and one of them is Wally World, Wally Joyner, who has made Anaheim, California his home with the California Angels. Jim Gray stopped by to update us on Wally Joyner.
It's hard to grasp. It's hard to imagine everything that has happened to Wally Joyner this year. It hasn't hit me. It's like I'm in a tiny world, and I might be playing in somebody else's body right now.
That from the man who's living what even to him seems to be a fantasy.
At 24 years of age and in his first major league season, Wally Joyner replaced the legendary Rod Carew at first base for the Angels, and in doing so has begun a legacy of his own, as his performance has enabled him to be the first rookie ever elected by the fans to start in an all-star game.
I kind of feel like, you know, Sally Fields, you know, they like me. You know, it's hard to grasp. I play for one reason, and it's because I love the game.
And those who love him, namely his wife Leslie, can't believe the abrupt turnaround in their life from just 10 months ago when the Joyners were wondering about their future while Wally was playing minor league ball in Edmonton. Back then, the times were tough.
We couldn't cash a check or get a credit card or anything else, so we're still kind of in shock.
But through those tough times, the Joyners endured. And now...
If ever a guy fit the bill of being an Angel, it would have to be Wally Joyner, as in his first major league season, his halo is beaming very brightly.
Joyner is a devout family man, and one who is not dominated 24 hours a day by baseball.
I have two beautiful girls who I love very much and who I enjoy being with.
He credits much of his baseball success to his stable family life. In addition, he's tried to pattern himself after a man he deeply admires, Dale Murphy of the Atlanta Braves. He's also quite pleased to be playing with his childhood idol, Reggie Jackson.
I used to watch him growing up on the Game of the Week, and my brother and I would go out and play home run derby or over the line in our driveway. If I could do anything that Reggie Jackson did, then that would be great.
I've enjoyed being his friend, and I will continue to be there for him and support anytime he asks and as long as he accepts my friendship.
And with a little assistance combined with his natural ability and work ethic, even Wally Joyner may realize that his fantasy is in fact a reality. Jim Gray, ESPN.
Thank you, Jim. And the reality is that Wally Joyner is the first man ever voted as a rookie to the starting team of the American League. He'll be starting for first base. Of course, you go up the coast a little bit, take a short drive, and get to Oakland. The Oakland A's have somebody they've been raving about all year, too. Mammoth swings are just part of the saga of Jose Canseco. In spring training, you never know what to expect from rookies, who will be the phenoms, and who will need a year or two more in the minors for seasoning, except in the case of Jose Canseco of the A's. After several early workouts in the Arizona sun, it was apparent to his soon-to-be teammates that he was something special.
You can see a future superstar. The guy put up some great numbers in the minor leagues last year, but this is the year that he can prove himself.
Prove himself he has. For a good part of the season, the 21-year-old Canseco has led the majors in homers and RBIs, and he may break the rookie record for both. Already, he has built up a batting practice reputation for putting on a show that deserves to go directly to Broadway, and teammates and opponents stop their pregame workouts just to watch Canseco take his cuts. Through it all, Jose says he's just trying to do his job.
I came up here just expecting to play every day and not really leading the league, and runs batted in and a tie with HR. I'm just going out here, just using my ability to the best as possible, and it seemed like I've got top stats right now.
Once upon a time, as in a couple of years ago, Canseco was hardly the second coming of Superman. In fact, he wasn't an early smash in the minors the way he's been in the majors.
I struggled the first couple of years, but I told myself, well, I'm young, I lack experience, so I'm just going to hang with it for a while. Then when I got more experience, I took off from there, started hitting really well, got more consistent. Even though I still struck out, I showed some power, and the organization liked that. So as the years went on, I got a little bit better, a little bit stronger. My confidence went up, and here I am now.
What you have to keep in mind is that Canseco, born in Cuba but raised in Miami from the age of 1, is just 21 years old. It's scary to think of what lies ahead, and what lies beyond all of those outfield fences. I'll tell you what, that bat looks like a toothpick in his hands. There's no question about it. We saw him today at batting practice, and that's the case for Jose Canseco. Jose Canseco and Wally Joyner, a couple of guys the American League are counting on new faces that changed their, how you say, downward slide the last couple of decades.
We'll be back. There's more to come on ESPN's All-Star Salute. We'll be taking a look at the dominance of the National League in this encounter when we return.
I can remember my first All-Star game in 1940. 2 runs 3-run homer in the 9th inning, and the ball hit the upper tier and came back. And then, you know, in Cooperstown last July 28th, I presented him with that ball 44 years later.
In the last generation, you talk National League. The National Leaguers have won 21 of the last 23 encounters, and the way things are going, and you look at some of the athletes that have been through this before, you talk to one fellow who knows a lot about that down there.
A guy who has certainly played through all that, George. Pete Rose has played in 17 All-Star games. His first game was outdoors in Minnesota in 1965. His 17th All-Star game was indoors in Minnesota in 1985. Now, Pete is not here this year, but he is certainly a man who is an expert at the National League's dominance. As a matter of fact, that first game in 65, that was the year the National League passed the American League for the overall series lead. So Pete Rose certainly knows why the National League almost never loses. And the National League wins another one. Last year it wasn't even close, as the National League humbled the American League 6-1, limiting them to 5 paltry singles. Not all the wins were that easy, but when you add it all up, the senior circuit has won 21 of the last 23. It's a lot more than luck.
The last 5 to 10 years, I always thought that the National League was much deeper than the American League. And I can give you one illustration. Remember when the game was played in Cleveland in 1981? Well, I started that game at first base, and they took me out and they put Garvey in. And then all of a sudden, in the late innings, Billy Buckner pinched hit, who won the batting title the year before. And I think the National League has always been 3, 4, and 5 deep at every position. And if you just recollect the way the games were played 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the National League didn't really excel until they start making the replacements.
The National League has been deeper for longer than that. It's been well documented that they were much more aggressive in signing black players in the 50s, players who would become the superstars in the 60s and 70s, players like Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Willie McCovey, Frank Robinson, and Ernie Banks. But it wasn't only talent. The will to win was instilled in the players by the National League's #1 fan.
I can go back to Warren Giles, who was tremendous as president of the National League, and he actually gave like a General Patton pep talk. And I mean, he was very serious about the game, and he didn't make any qualms about it. I mean, he wanted you to go out there and bust your tail and win the game. And if you had to dive for a ball or run into a wall or knock over a second baseman or knock a guy down with 0-2, I mean, he wanted you to do it.
Or knock over a catcher, as he did in the 12th inning in one of the most famous all-star plays in history.
Well, 1970 at home, and I remember I was on second base, and Wright was pitching, and Amos Otis was playing center field, and Jimmy Hickman hit a base hit. And the funny thing about that game, Ray Fosse was at my house the night before till 3 in the morning. And if you watch the replay, which I'm sure you have, I did start to slide, and I saw where he was up the line and he was straddling the line, and I couldn't have touched home plate, and I could see me breaking both collarbones. So I just had a big advantage in that situation because he was reaching, concentrating on catching the ball and not concentrating on the contact. Now, if he'd have had the ball waiting for me, I'd have been out, and I probably would have got hurt. But because he was concentrating on the ball, I happened to hit him, and it was bad the way it happened because somehow he separated his shoulder, and it didn't show up on the X-ray. And I missed the weekend series because of a bum knee, but he continued to play. And I think what happened is when he separated that shoulder, it just didn't go back right, and he was never the same player after that.
It wasn't always a physical confrontation. Sometimes it was mental.
Well, we tried to use the intimidation factor at the San Diego game. What I mean by that, Whitey Wiedemann, who used to be a coach for Cincinnati and was a coach for San Diego, and is like the big man around the clubhouse in San Diego, handles the balls. We went out to take batting practice the day before, and we had Kingman, and we had Winfield, and Lazinski, and Parker, and he threw these hard rock Japanese balls in the ball bag for batting practice. You know, they go like a golf ball. And the American League was sitting there watching those guys take batting practice, and they're hitting 4 out of every 6 upstairs in the upper deck. And they must have said, what are we playing, a bunch of gorillas around here? I mean, these guys are hitting the ball. I mean, I even hit one, just missed a scoreboard, and I'm a punch and Judy hitter. So they were sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's their turn to take batting practice. And I guess they said, man, the ball must really travel here. And they're hitting, and they're just reaching the wall or just barely going over the fence, the big guys there. And we ended up beating them in that ball game.
Whatever it takes, it worked, as the National League, of course, has won 14 of 15, 21 of the last 23. And you heard them mention that Pete Rose and Ray Fosse were together till about 3 o'clock in the morning. One of the things that Pete told me that Ray wanted to know all about, a young catcher coming up, was a catcher, a teammate of Pete Rose's by the name of Johnny Bench. Johnny is with George Grande right now. George?
Thank you very much, Chris. And when you talk about all-star and postseason competition, Johnny Bench was always at his best. John, when you think of the dominance of the National League, can you point to any one thing?
Well, the first thing I can remember was I played my first all-star game here in the Astrodome. The last time it was here in 1968, and I can remember Warren Giles coming in. He was the National League president at that time, and he gave the most inspired speech. I mean, I don't know if you saw the longest yard. I felt like the mean machine. You know, I'm out there trying. I thought that's what we were, and I got to catch the last inning of the ball game with Jerry Koosman pitching, but it was an inspiration, and it had repeated itself until, of course, Charles Chub Feeney came in, and he's basically doing the same thing. But I don't know, there's just an attitude. We're not feeling like everybody keeps saying, you are the best league, you are this, you are that. We basically have a little bit more maturity to start with, and it was sort of passed along to the younger players, and the younger players became the older players, and it was sort of, we weren't disoriented. I always felt like the American League was somewhat disoriented as they were going in a different direction and not really the team that the National League was, and it just sort of kept going and going and going, and of course we had great players, but I'm starting to...
Well, we're playing an all-star game up in Minneapolis at the old stadium now, and I hit a home run, and the band was playing, and my ball that I hit went in the tube, and it made a funny sound. So that was the one standout that I do recall in the All-Star competition.
Get up and cheer about the home run hitting contest. Some of the best sluggers around. Actually, they went out and watched both the American League and the National League take their batting practice. But really, when you think about it, there is nothing like the long ball to get the fans' attention. There were so many homers hit today, I ran out of cliches to describe them. It's belted. It's way back there. Kiss that baby goodbye. This one is deep, real deep. That ball is going. It's gone. There's a drive. Way back. That ball is out of here. That ball is deep. It might be. It could be. It is. There's a shot. That dog will hunt deep into the Chiefs. And of course, back. That ball is gone. The balls were flying out of the Astrodome like nobody would believe. I had to come 500 feet away from home plate just to get some peace and quiet. Darryl Strawberry must be up. That's Wally Joyner already. Dave Parker's up. I'll tell you what, these balls apparently have had home run written all over them. That's saying something, because the Astrodome is one of the toughest hitters' ballparks in the majors. Who would know better than the National League's leading home run hitter, Glenn Davis of the Astros?
It's tough. It's really tough, and there's certain areas that you got to hit it here that the ball really travel, and seems like some of the areas that they're hitting them now, they're just not going.
Very quickly, the home run hero for the day was established. Darryl Strawberry, the right fielder of the New York Mets, was depositing baseballs to parts of the dome that nobody knew existed. The National League's leading vote-getter nailed 4 homers before he was retired. One of them hit a speaker dangling so high from the right field roof that he took a bow in the batter's box and got a standing O from the fans and from the players.
I was swinging the bat well coming on into the All-Star game, and being in a home run contest like this, it may help me find my home run stroke for the second half of the season.
Daryl's some kind of strong. That proves it right there.
Okay.
California's Wally Joyner tied Strawberry for individual honors, also homering 4 times. Joyner's build may not suggest that he's a power hitter extraordinaire, but you couldn't tell that to those in the dome today. Wally was wonderful.
I got something in my bat, I guess. No, I don't know what it is. Good BP, I guess. It's the adrenaline's going. That's what it is.
You don't have to be big to be a home run hitter. Montreal shortstop Hubie Brooks didn't contend for individual honors, but he didn't embarrass himself at the plate either.
I got one, and I got a lot of base hits, but now it's time not for base hits, so we need his home run. I came up a little short, but I did get one way back.
Brooks had as many dingers as the Major League home run hitter Jose Canseco of the A's, and their one was one more than catchers Lance Parrish of the Tigers and Gary Carter of the Mets. Dave Parker of the Reds hit 3, and Toronto's Jesse Barfield had 2. If you're scoring by leagues, the National League won, of course, 8-7, but one thing was very apparent. A day before the All-Star game, the fans are already wide-eyed over the whole affair.
I tell you what, Darryl Strawberry made some new friends and new fans today. They're buzzing about him.
There was some oohs and ahs in the Astrodome today with the home run hitting contest. There were some oohs and ahs on Sunday for the old-timers. That and more coming up when ESPN's All-Star Salute continues.
I think, well, the one in Detroit. The American League had not won in a long time, and Reggie Jackson hit that tremendous home run, and it just got everybody adrenaline flowing, and we won that ball game. I happened to be named the most valuable player because I happened to drop one over the right field wall and got the game winner. But that was a great moment, I think, for the American League because we did break the string at that time of the National League.
The party continues here in downtown Houston, Texas at the Hyatt Regency, the All-Star Roundup, as we're getting ready to gallop off to the 1986 All-Star Game at the Astrodome tomorrow. And, of course, the fans have had their say, especially in the American League. It shows that votes up to the last minute do count. There was a change in the outfield. Reggie Jackson out, Kirby Puckett in. Let's meet the American League starters. At catcher for the American League, Lance Parrish of the Detroit Tigers, making his second start in his 6th appearance. He's second in the American League with 21 home runs. A defensive wizard, he has the All-Star record set back in 1982 when he threw out 3 potential base stealers. At first base, the first rookie to be voted to the starting lineup of the All-Star team for the American League, Wally Joyner of the Angels. 20 homers this year, second in the league with 72 RBIs. Already the man has perfected his home run trot. At second base for the American League, Sweet Lou Whitaker of the Detroit Tigers. His 3rd start, his 4th appearance. Whitaker of the All-Star Games has been a demon. He's hitting .500, and defensively, he also has been a demon. He's won 3 Gold Gloves in his career. Once again voted to the starting lineup at third base, George Brett of the Kansas City Royals. However, George will not play because of a shoulder injury. He'll be replaced by Wade Boggs of the Boston Red Sox, who, like Brett in 1980, is making a run at that magical 400 mark. Boggs will start for Brett. At shortstop, the leading vote getter in the American League, Cal Ripken of the Baltimore Orioles, his 3rd start and 4th appearance. He was the AL MVP back in 1983. The man plays every inning of every game. In the outfield, one of the guys flexing his muscles, Kirby Puckett of the Minnesota Twins. 16 homers and 49 RBIs this year. He's 3rd in the American League in batting right now with a .338 average. Kirby Puckett surprising everybody with his power. He also has great prowess in center field. Ricky Henderson of the New York Yankees making his 3rd start, his 6th appearance overall. Ricky leads the American League in steals with 51. Of course, he is the Major League all-time base stealer. In 1982, he had 130. His teammate from the Yankees, Dave Winfield, not having a Dave Winfield type of season, but maybe the All-Star Game is where he'll get on track. His 10th appearance overall, 6th as a starter. He's won 5 Gold Gloves for catches like these. Those are the starters in the American League. The bench ain't bad either, as they say, George. Don Mattingly of the Yankees, Eddie Murray of the Orioles, first base reserves. You can go about 8 deep in the American League there. Frank White of the Royals at second base, Tony Fernandez of the Blue Jays at short, Jim Presley from the Seattle Mariners at 3rd, along with Brooke Jacoby, who was selected when Brett could not play, moving Boggs into the starting lineup. Rich Gedman from the Red Sox, the backup catcher. His teammate from Boston, Jim Rice, is in the outfield, ready to go, along with the rookie Jose Canseco, who you met a little bit earlier. Harold Baines of the Chicago White Sox is in the outfield, along with Jesse Barfield of the Blue Jays, and his teammate from Toronto, Lloyd Moseby.
Yeah, we talk about Roger Clemens being from this area. It's nice to see Jesse Barfield on the club, too, in the American League, because he also is from this area. It's been like a homecoming for him. That's the look at the American League side. Let's take a look now at the National League starters for this All-Star encounter. After a slow start in 1986, second baseman Ryne Sandberg of the Chicago Cubs has been one of the league leaders in RBIs all season long for the National League club. Sandberg is making his third All-Star appearance. He's won 3 straight Gold Gloves. This man is also making his third All-Star appearance. We're talking about Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres. He's a former National League batting champ, was number 4 in the league last year, and has been leading the league for most of this year. Even in slow motion, his stroke is powerful. This man is powerful. What a weekend he had last weekend for the Mets against the Atlanta Braves. Most people agree. If Gary Carter goes down with the glove or the bat, the Mets are in trouble. Gary Carter, the catcher for the National League, his 9th All-Star appearance and his 6th start. If there ever was an All-American boy, it's Dale Murphy of the Atlanta Braves. And he's also an All-Star All-American. Murph makes another All-Star appearance. Of the Braves, his 6th all told. 5 of those have been starts. He's hitting .273 with 14 home runs and 36 RBIs. Keith Hernandez does it with the bat, like here at Shea Stadium. And he also does it with the glove. Hernandez will make his 4th All-Star appearance for the National League. He's hitting .284 with 38 RBIs and 6 home runs and that solid gold glove. Here's a solid gold bat, Darryl Strawberry. The young man who's a former Rookie of the Year in the National League, a young man who leads the Mets in power categories this year. This is a year the Mets think they can do it all. This man has always done it all. The man who invented the flip, Ozzie Smith. He's done away with the flip in '86, but he still makes those kind of pickups. The Wizard of Oz, the starting shortstop for the National League. It's his 6th appearance at his 4th start. Mike Schmidt, now with 477 career home runs as he closes in on the 500 mark, will be the starting third baseman. He's a Gold Glover at third, can also do it at first. This year, he'll start for the National League at the hot corner. The rest of the National League lineup packs some power, like Glenn Davis of the Houston Astros, who leads the National League in home run. Steve Sack's 3rd appearance. Hubie Brooks' 1st appearance, and Chris Brown is making his 1st appearance, too. Kevin Bass, his 1st appearance. Chili Davis of the Giants, his 2nd. Tim Raines is here from the Montreal Expos. The big bat of Dave Parker is here. Jody Davis from the Cubs, and catcher Tony Pena of the Pirates. That's a look at the picture for the National League All-Stars, the starters and the reserves. With us is Keith Hernandez of the New York Mets. Keith, it's always a thrill to be a part of something like this, isn't it?
Yeah, All-Star games are always great. This is my 4th, and I thought I should have had more, but that's the way it goes. But they're always fun. They're always fun, and particularly the fact that I'm starting my 1st one. Every player, I think, wants to start an All-Star game, and it's something I've dreamed of. And I'm real excited about tomorrow when they say now the starting lineup for the National League, and I'll be part of that. It's going to be very special.
How'd you like to be in the American League with all the first basemen they have there?
They have a lot of great first basemen over there, and we have our good share too, and young ones. With Glenn Davis, they made the All-Star team and very deserving, and a few other players. But it's a great event. It's been a great fun tonight, and everybody's looking forward to playing tomorrow.
He wouldn't be a bad addition to our softball team, huh?
No, I think we might have a spot for him. Although I do play first base, but we'll get into that later. All right, we can play shortstop. We'll call you Enzo. There you go. It's not as if there haven't been guys like Garvey and other names that you've been having to beat out at first base finally. I mean, you climb that ladder, you're there.
It was tough with Pete Rose and Steve Garvey in their prime to beat them out. So I was just hoping to be put on a team, but they normally only take 2 first basemen, and I've been disappointed a few times, but I was just real surprised I won, and I'm just ecstatic about it.
Real quick, the Mets this year, I mean, you got a pretty sizable lead. It looked like the Reds gave you a little message, and unfortunately for the Atlanta Braves, you woke up against them this past week.
Well, it's funny, the Reds swept us last year, 2nd time in New York, and we came back and swept the Braves 4 last year, so it was like a repeat of last season. But, you can't win all the time, and the Reds came in and just beat us, but we bounced back. That's all that counts.
Championship team with the Cardinals, is this a better team than that championship team with the Cardinals?
I feel it's the best team I've played for. It was a great St. Louis team, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But the pitching is so great in our team, the starting pitching. It's tough for us to go on any extended losing streaks with the starting 5 that we have.
Keith, good seeing you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck. Enjoy yourself.
Very good.
It'll be a while before this gentleman is an old-timer, but we're going to take a look at some of the All-Star old-timers who were in town yesterday when our All-Star salute continues after this.
Great.
There you go.
Good.
Well, I think the greatest psych I ever had in an All-Star game was in Atlanta in 1972. As it turned out, I got to be the winning pitcher in the game, but much more than that was in the pregame lineups when we had Hank Aaron hitting third and Willie Mays hitting fourth, and it was at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. And when they introduced Mays, you didn't think anything could get any louder. And then they introduced Aaron. No, it was Aaron first. It was Mays and then Aaron. And then they introduced Aaron. It was like you thought the place was going to come down. It was so loud you couldn't hear. You could just feel the vibrations. It was an incredible feeling.
I'm stolen base king still enjoy the game of baseball. They have to change their game plan a bit for an old-timers game like this.
Oh, sure, in fact.
Well, certainly the 1981 game, that was my very first start, and then that game, and it was the first game back from the strike that occurred in 81, and it was 6 weeks, and then fortunately I had the opportunity of coming back and hitting 2 home runs in the game, and that will be a memory that will stick in my mind for many, many years.
And we're going to start at first base with Ken. Good evening, Mr. Phelps of the Seattle Mariners. His mission, should he choose to accept it, is to hit a home run like he did there. Steve Alto Sachs almost at second, but what can you say? Julio, won't you let me take you on a sea cruise, occasionally tying his shoes from the White Sox? At shortstop, you got to go food. You go with the Oakland A's, you go with fettuccine Alfredo Griffin. At third base, you got to sing now. We've got Alto here. We're going to sing for the Mariners, Hound Dog Presley. Jim Hound Dog Presley shooting him off for the Mariners. All right, now we go behind the plate. And it's time to take a look. His voice is a little better than Kim Carnes, but at the Chicago Cubs, he's Jody Davis Eyes. He beats out such all-stars as Butch Oil and Weiniger and some others. Now, from the hometown, we're in Houston. It's called being hospitable. Jose, can you see Cruz? You hear him before every game during the national anthem, right? That's one of your outfielders. If we could all have this fate. Oh, to be young again, McDowell, center fielder of the Texas Rangers. And then it's a question of Vaughn Purple Hayes, the outfielder of the Philadelphia Phillies. Purple Hayes or Tim Purple Rains? There's no question. Jimi Hendrix over Prince. It's not even close. Starting pitchers. Bert B. Holm Bly-Levin of the Minnesota Twins. However, in this particular outing, Steve, yes, he was home by 9 because he gave up the long ball. And then, for relief, J. Thurston B. Howell. They needed relief on Gilligan's Island. The A's need him in the lineup. He's been hurt all year. For the manager, Pat O.K. Corrales of the Cleveland Indians, who this year, unfortunately, was K.O. Corrales when he took on the Oakland A's. There it is, the all-nickname team. Oh, that's great. But I'll tell you what. The fans in Los Angeles are stuffing the ballot box for you. If it had another week, I know you would have won.
Well, thanks, Chris. I'll tell you what, it's just fun to be here, and I really enjoy your names. And I know around the league, you're pretty much the talk of the, whenever you're on the bus or the airport, really, everybody enjoys it very much.
Baseball can't be that boring.
It's not. You just tune into ESPN.
I tell you what, we've got a party going on inside. It's time for you to get something to eat. And remember one thing. What's up? Keep your eye on the meatball.
That's right, and don't eat too much Dan Salad Dressing.
We're going to be back here at our All-Star Salute in just a moment. Stay with us.
All right. I think one happening that happened to me was in an All-Star game in Kansas City that I pitched against, where I had played with Buddy Bell's father on the Cincinnati Reds. And all of a sudden, I'm in the All-Star game in Kansas City, and who walks up to hit off of me but his son, Buddy Bell. And, of course, I played with Gus in my beginning years with Cincinnati, and hit a triple off of me, so I remember it very well.